Hello everyone and welcome to our Crowdfund Sport webinar with British Cycling. My name's Grace and I am a coach here at Crowdfunder. At the end of today's session, we hope you're going to leave knowing more about British Cycling's Places to Ride fund, as well as how to run a successful crowdfunding campaign. We'll also send you a link to our Learn platform, which gives you all of the tools that you need to plan and run a successful crowdfunding campaign. So just some housekeeping points before we get started. We've allowed 30 minutes for today's session, but it might take a little bit more or a little bit less, depending on how many questions we get. If you do have any questions for any of our guests today, please pop them in the chat box in the right-hand side of your screen. And we will answer them with a Q&A session at the end. We're currently working remotely, so please do bear with us if our internet cuts out. And finally, we can't see you. You can see us, but we can't see you, so don't worry. Today, we're going to be hearing from Amy from British Cycling, Chloe, our dedicated sports coach, as well as someone who has crowdfunded successfully, so they can tell you all about what worked and what didn't work in their crowdfunding campaign. So first of all, I'm going to introduce Amy. Hi, Amy. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
So I just wondered if you could tell us a little bit about the Places to Ride fund.
Yes, of course. So hi everyone, thank you for joining today. Our crowdfunder has been set up part of the Places to Ride programme. For those of you who don't know what the Places to Ride programme is, it's actually the legacy programme that was set up following the Road World Championships in Yorkshire in 2019, and it's to support the development of new or refurbishment of existing cycling facilities. So it's a government-funded pot of money. It was £15 million, and it's jointly delivered by British Cycling, Sport England and DCMS. We did have small and large-scale applications, but they have now closed back in March. So our only remaining pot of funding now for capital funding is through Crowdfunder. So we're looking to support community organisations who are looking to develop sustainable local opportunities. And we have to date supported lots of different clubs, lots of different projects, and you're going to be hearing from one of our most recently supported projects shortly. We can match fund up to 50% of your target to a maximum of £15,000. So if you have a target for your project of around 30k, we can potentially match fund that up to £15,000. But what will happen, which Chloe and the team will go through, is you'll apply for our fund once you've set up your crowdfunder page, and we will go away and assess your application to see what we can support with our monies. So depending on who's on the webinar today and what type of project you're looking to support, please do feel free to pop some questions into the chat box, and we can hopefully tailor our answers to your specific questions later on in the webinar.
Amazing, thank you. And so what type of projects are you going to be supporting?
Well, it could be a variety of different projects. We've got a number of eligibility criteria and objectives of the fund, which you can find. I'll share the link within the chat bar, but it really is about supporting local communities. And there is a bit more flexibility through our crowdfunder. So if anyone was looking at putting an application in for our small scale grant fund, we did have very, very strict guidelines that we needed to meet with those. Whereas with crowdfunder, we've got that flexibility to support a wider range of community projects. So you might not be a cycling organisation, you might be someone who wants to set up some sort of project that has a cycling related element to it that you might want to apply for our fund. But just to note as well, it would need to be capital funding. We can't support anything that's related to revenue.
Perfect, thank you, that's really helpful. So like Amy mentioned, we will be having a Q&A at the end of the session, so please do put your questions in the chat box and we'll see if we can answer as many as we can at the end of today's session. So as I mentioned earlier, we've got our dedicated sports coach, Chloe, who is going to be talking us through crowdfunding.
Hi, Grace.
Hi, Chloe. How are you doing?
Really well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So I'm going to hand over to you now to tell everyone how to crowdfund.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So crowdfunding is a great way to raise both money and awareness for your project through engaging with the community. You will set up your page on our online platform, and please don't worry if you're not too tech savvy. The platform is really easy to use, and we are here to help you every step of the way. You'll then promote that campaign page to your crowd or community, and those that want to support you or perhaps fancy one of your rewards will make a pledge to help you reach your goal. Before you get started creating your page, it's really important to think about your audience. Who might be interested in your project and why would they be interested? You'll likely find there's a whole group of different groups of people, different organizations that may be interested in your project. So thinking about the reasons why they in particular would be interested will really help you create an engaging page, and it will also help you later on when you're promoting that project. So here's an example of a cycle path project. There's the obvious people that would be interested in this being the cyclists in the area. But you can also think a little bit wider. So perhaps local schools, they may benefit from this project because you may be creating a safer route to school for their students. And it could also encourage some physical activity with students as well. So that's the sort of messaging you'd want to be talking to when you're highlighting your project to schools. On the other hand, we could look at local businesses in the area. Perhaps the cycle path provides a better accessibility to that cafe or shop, meaning that you may bring in more potential customers for them. So it's a different mentality as to why each of these groups would support your project. So bear that in mind when it comes to creating your project, because you want your project page to be engaging for anyone in the area that may land on your project page. You want to be in a position where anyone that lands on your page, reads through, sees the benefit directly to them and to the people they care about, and therefore they make a pledge. So when creating your project, personally, I would start with project headings. This is an example of a project page. And as you can see, you've got big, bold headings to separate the text into easy to read sections. So tell us who you are, what your organization does. Then give us information about what it is you're crowdfunding for. What is the project that you're aiming to raise money for? And why is it important to the local community? What are the benefits to those landing on that page? And finally, it's really important to talk about how the money will be spent. As a potential supporter, you're much more likely to pledge on a campaign if you can see the direct impact that your financial contribution is going to make. So transparency is key. Once you've got all that information on there, it's time to make that page a little bit more engaging. And the best way to do that is with videos and images. And as you can see on this example page, you can add those throughout the campaign. You'll see a video at the very top of the page, which is the first thing that anyone sees on a crowdfunding page. So use this as an elevator pitch to summarize who you are, why you're crowdfunding, and how the audience can help. Just 1 to 2 minutes is absolutely fine, and it will do a really good job in making your page more personable and getting that message across in a short and snappy way. I also recommend adding images throughout the campaign page to separate that text a little bit and to paint a picture of what it is you're trying to achieve. If we use the cycle path as an example, show us what it looks like now to really demonstrate the need for a new cycle path in that area. And finally, let's talk about rewards. So here at Crowdfunder, we are the top rewards-based crowdfunding platform. That means that on top of the standard donation that you perhaps associate with traditional fundraising, you can offer something in return for a pledge. So This is a great way of encouraging both more and higher pledges. The average pledged on a campaign just as a donation is £10. If you compare that to the average pledge on a reward of £50, you can really see the value that these add. So again, think about that network map. How are you going to encourage pledges from all those different groups of people? You can offer the more obvious rewards based towards those that will directly benefit. So here's an example. Finsbury Park Skate Plaza recently crowdfunded, and we're going to find out a little bit more about that. So they thought about the skaters in the area, the obvious audience, if you like, and they had handcrafted ramps. They had assigned Peaky Blinders skate deck. So these are going to attract pledges, potentially higher pledges from the skaters in the area. But they also thought about that wider community. Okay, if you're not going to use the skate park, but you're in the area, you could still make a pledge to help them reach their goal. So how do you encourage that? What they did is speak to local businesses who in turn donated products and services to be used as a reward. That way, you could be in the local area, you can see the project page and perhaps see a local discount at the restaurant. You don't need to be interested in skating to want to pledge on that and therefore help that project page get to their target. So now you've got a lovely page, it's time to think about how to promote that to your crowd and community. I always suggest starting from your inner network and work outwards. So those people that are directly connected with the project itself, and perhaps your family and friends, the closest people to you that want to support you personally, get those to pledge at the very beginning, because you don't want to be promoting a page that's got 0% on your target. There's not much of a buzz about it yet. So that's going to make your life a lot more difficult. So get those initial pledges on to create a bit of momentum. And then you can go out to those different groups that we identified in that network map. Using the wording that we discussed earlier, make it personal to those individual groups. Having a message that speaks directly to you, you should pledge on this because it will benefit you in XYZ way, is a much more effective messaging than please pledge on my project. So make sure you're always referring back to that network map. Once you've got the ball rolling, you've got a bit of excitement about your page, it's time to promote it to the wider community. Get posters around the area. You can download a QR code through the dashboard on Crowdfunder, which will bring people directly to your campaign page. You can also use social media. This is a really useful tool. Most areas will have a community Facebook page in which people want to know what's going on in that area. So this is a great place to talk about the project that you're crowdfunding for, but also to promote those community-focused rewards. Again, if you're promoting get a discount at your favorite restaurant, you're going to be tempted to jump onto that page and take a look. So you're going to be raising awareness for your project and get some pledges in at the same time. We also have a feature on Crowdfunder called the multiplier. This allows people to crowdfund on behalf of your project. So it's a great way to get more people involved in your campaign, and also to get hold of some pledges from their personal networks too. So often we see the likes of sponsored runs, sponsored bike rides, swims, that sort of thing. But it doesn't matter what it is they do. They can create a sort of mini page that's connected to your main campaign page to help you reach your goal. As Amy mentioned, we have teamed up with British Cycling on the Places to Ride extra fund, in which projects can receive up to £15,000 towards their project target, a maximum of 50% of whatever target you create when you're putting your page together. So let me show you how that works. You'll create your page, include all those lovely images, videos, rewards, and all that detail on there that we spoke about earlier. And then you can apply for extra funding through your campaign and through your crowdfunding page on your dashboard. This will take you through to a short application form, that will be sent over to the British Cycling team, who will then review your application and your project page. So at which point they'll let you know how much they're going to be supporting you with. You then need to raise at least 25% of your project target from at least the required supporting numbers, which you can see in that table at the bottom. So let me give you a quick example. If I am raising a target of £10,000, I can see there that I need at least 50 unique supporters in order to activate that pledge from British Cycling. So once I've done that and I've met 25% or more of my target, the extra funding will go onto my page and it will be visible on there, and I can shout about that to my crowd. Not only will it boost my target up, take me closer to my to 100% of my target, but it also adds an element of credibility to your project as well, saying, you know, British Cycling is supporting this. It's really exciting news and a great way to motivate your crowd to get behind you even more. You then need to make sure that you reach at least 100% of your project target in order to secure that extra funding. Once you have done, everything is secure, but you don't have to finish until your campaign is due to close. So you can add a stretch target to avoid your campaign looking complete and give your crowd a reason to continue supporting you. On your stretch target, you'll be able to add a little message along with that to say what you'll spend any additional funding on. And as I mentioned before, it's really important to be transparent. So if you can detail what it is you'll be spending it on, you're more likely to continue that support coming in. That's all from me for the time being. Grace, I'm going to hand back to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chloe. So as Chloe briefly touched on earlier, we are going to be hearing from Beth from Finsbury Park Skate Plaza. So they raised an amazing £45,567 from 379 different supporters. So if you do have any questions for Beth, please pop them in the chat box and we can go through them at the end of the session. So Beth, are you there?
Hi.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
So just to kick off, do you want to tell us a little bit about your project?
Yeah, so we crowdfunded to expand and improve our local skate park in Finsbury Park, which is currently 2 small bowls, which have been there about 20 years. And then right next door to it, there was about 1,000 metre square wasteland plot, which is kind of concrete that's broken and not very safe, but people do skate on it. So we worked for quite a while. I'm part of the Friends of Finsbury Park, which is a charity organisation of volunteers that help to sort of manage and protect the park alongside the council. So we worked with the council to come to an agreement that they would let us have that plot of wasteland if we would basically raise all the money. Anyway, that's since changed. Thank mainly to the crowdfunder. The council have agreed to match fund us. So whatever we raise, the council will pay the other half. So yeah, that's what I was crowdfunding for, to, expand our skate park.
Great. So why did you choose crowdfunding to raise the money?
I'd heard from other friends before that they'd done small sort of scale crowdfunders that had worked really well. So I just kind of went online and had a quick look, and there seemed to be sort of similar sporting crowdfunders going. So yeah, I just thought I'll give it a go, see how we get on.
Amazing. And then what was it that you found the most difficult about crowdfunding?
I think sort of sustaining it was quite difficult, and trying to get out to a wider, more diverse audience rather than just skaters. I mean, skaters, essentially, most of them don't have much money. So, trying to get out our crowdfunder to a wider audience was quite difficult. And yeah, just sustaining sort of momentum was quite hard at times.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people who crowdfund have that issue with, they get pledges in at the beginning and pledges at the end, but trying to keep momentum on this dip. So what was it that you thought worked best with your crowdfunder?
Well, I was incredibly lucky to get a huge amount of support from Chloe at Crowdfunder. And I have to admit, I would never have been able to achieve it without her, because when I set the page up, I had no idea what I was doing. So I didn't have any pictures. I didn't have any video, no rewards. I didn't realize that they would be that important. And so she would constantly give me little sort of, hey, think about doing this. And that was really helpful. So I think the video helped raise the profile of the campaign a lot. And then also going out locally to businesses and getting rewards was really important, because it helped me sustain the campaign and sort of kind of bring regular money in, but it also helped me get out to a wider audience. So it wasn't just skaters that were donating, or skaters' mums, so that was really important.
Yeah, definitely. I think rewards are definitely something that might be overlooked, but
yeah,
you said there's something that will appeal to everyone, not just people in your target audience.
Yeah,
so really great to include them. We also might try and show your video if we've got time at the end.
Okay.
So we, as you mentioned, you've got your community involved, and you part of the way that you did that was by running fundraisers. Can you just tell us a little bit about how you got people from the community involved?
Yeah, so we did a couple of things. We managed to get the papers involved, which helped spread the news. And then we got sort of small businesses approaching us saying they would like to help out, which was brilliant. The rewards really, really helped in engagement in the community. And then we held a skateathon and a tricks competition. So I then managed to get lots of multi-funders. So I got loads and loads of skaters and bikers who signed up, and then they got their own sponsorship separate from what I was doing, but it all fed into our crowdfunder. And then we had a day in July where we had kids and adults on skateboards, BMXs, scooters, wheelchairs doing laps of the park to raise money. And then we had a trick competition, and that was brilliant for engagement, but it bumped up our campaign, really well, because we were starting to sort of flatten off a little bit. And then again, that engagement sort of brought everybody back into thinking about it. So that was really helpful. Yeah.
Great. Really great tips. And then would you also have any tips on how to make a nice video, or any advice? Because a lot of the time, I think people are a little bit nervous about putting their face out there and putting a video together. So if you have any tips on that, that would be great.
I mean, I was really lucky, because originally I thought I was just going to have to record myself on my phone. And then there was a mum and a dad of a skater over at the skate park that I was talking about, and they work in film. So I was incredibly lucky that, they agreed to do it for free for me. And confidence wise, I thought, well, this is a really good cause. I'm not getting paid for this. If I mess it up, it doesn't really matter. And if I look a bit of a wally, I don't really care, because all I want to do is raise the money to make a really good skate park. So, and also I knew that I couldn't be precious. I didn't have their time all day. I had about 2 hours to get this video made. So I just had to go in and who cares if I look silly? I didn't, as long as you're raising the money, that's all that matters.
Exactly. And I think a lot of the time, as long as you're showing how passionate and enthusiastic you are, that's half the battle.
Yeah, definitely.
So my final question before we go on to any questions from the audience, other than the financial benefit to crowdfunding, is there anything else that you would say has been a benefit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so the council obviously gave us permission to use the plot of land to expand our skate park into, but originally they weren't going to put any money into it. And they could see, though, as our campaign was building, how the community really wanted it. And so that enabled me to keep going back and requesting meetings with the council and saying, look how many people are wanting this. And I started an Instagram page as well. And so we had a lot of engagement off of that. So it helped really get the community behind the project, which made the council go, okay, it's wanted. We'll give you half the money if you fund the rest of it. And also, I think it had been something that skaters had wanted for a long time, 20 years, this plot of wasteland had sat there. And I think that there had been a lot of talk in the previous years of things being done, and it never happened. So people probably didn't really believe much. But once they could see our crowdfunder was raising money and there was lots of people donating, I think the community really got behind it, because they could see this is genuinely going to happen now. So it wasn't just the money, it was integral in getting everybody on board, and businesses and locals and schools as well. So yeah, it helped in both ways.
Yeah, I definitely think crowdfunding is such a great way of raising awareness and things that. So I bet there's loads of people in Finsbury Park that would never have known that there was even a need for a skate plaza or a want for it. And it's kind of that awareness that you get from crowdfunding.
Yeah.
So I'm going to now invite Chloe back on. We've got a few questions from the audience, and also if Amy is there too. Hi guys.
Hi.
So just if anyone has any questions, again, just pop them in the chat box, but we have got a few that have come in already. So the first one is from Holly, which is probably aimed at Amy and Chloe. So Holly's been told that if we don't meet our target, the money will be returned to the people who donated. Is that correct? It's probably one for Chloe.
So that one will depend which funding method you choose. So we've got two. There's all or nothing or keep what you raise. Both of them do what they say on the tin. So if you choose all or nothing, you have to reach your target in order to secure any of the money at all. If you don't, everything will be refunded back to your supporters. If you choose keep what you raise, you'll keep everything that you raise from the crowd. However, please do bear in mind that you need to reach your target in order to secure extra funding, whichever funding method you choose.
Amazing. And then we have a question for Amy from Mark. So we're planning to build a pump track in Guernsey. This is a capital project, so would we be eligible?
Hi, Mark. Unfortunately, you wouldn't be eligible because the fund does only cover England.
Okay, thank you for that. And then Phil is asking, I'm looking to create a cycle infrastructure on a school's ground. This will include painting road markings on the school playground, creating a blue graded MTB trail and a pump track. The school is already used as a race HQ, and we would like to integrate all species of cyclists and generate to get the wider community rolling. I'm not sure that was the question as such, but just nice to hear what people are crowdfunding for.
Yeah. Hi, Phil. Sounds absolutely brilliant. Yes, it would definitely be eligible. The key thing for us is about reaching out to the wider community as well. So as long as it's not just a use for the school and you are going out wider than that, not just to other schools, then yes, we would definitely be eligible for that. Thank you. And we'd welcome an application.
Great. And so now I've got a question from Tim, who is asking, so hi, we want to set up inclusive and modified cycling facilities in Keighley and Ilkley. We are Bradford Disability Cycling Club, and our site has a tarmac track which needs renovation, security and floodlights and an additional container. Our Ilkley sites need floodlights and a container, and both sites need alarms and security. We have already crowdfunded and won grants of 12k for of this 25k project. Can the 12k count towards the crowdfunder?
You'll need to set up a new crowdfunder in order to access this funding. So we won't be looking at other crowdfunding pots, unfortunately. So use this to raise some more from the crowd and access the funding from British Cycling.
Great. And then Leighton is asking, can we use our race fees to contribute to crowdfunding through the British Cycling tool?
Yeah, so you could use race fees as one of your rewards. So people will have to pledge on a reward, claim their, pay for their race fees through Crowdfunder, and that will count towards your project target, counting towards extra funding.
Amazing. And also from Leighton, probably for Amy and Chloe, is there a time frame to spend the money?
Hi, Leighton. There's no time frame as such, but what we would recommend is once you have done your crowdfunder, obviously the crowd have supported this project and would like to see it happen as quickly as possible. So I think as long as you are communicating within your page on when you're expecting to do it, everyone it's managing their expectations then on when the project's going to happen. And Maria, in answer to your question on how long it's going to be open, well, the answer to that is, how long is a piece of string? We've got a pot of money, and it's just all dependent on how many projects apply, what we support over the next 12 months or so, as to how long the fund will be open for.
Great. And Beth, we want to know if you would crowdfund again.
Yes, I would, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I'd probably try and get a few more people to help me this time. But definitely I would do it. I think it's a great way to raise money and to raise awareness.
Amazing. So I think that might be all the questions. I just have one more question for Beth. I want to know if you could give people who are about to crowdfund one piece of advice, what would that be?
Prepare to put some work in and to get frustrated at times, but know that it's worth the effort, because if you can secure that money, it can make a big difference in other people's lives. So it's worth the hard work. Stick with it.
That's great advice. Thank you so much. So I think I know I mentioned we were going to show your video. So I'm aware that we're running over slightly. So we will send a follow-up email with your project page, which will link to your video so everyone can watch it then. And then Chloe, I'm just going to hand over to you now to talk everyone through the next steps.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully everyone's got a better idea of what crowdfunding is all about, how it can help your organisation and raise money for your project. As we mentioned at the beginning, you're not on your own. We're here to help you, and we've got loads of resources together that are specifically designed to help crowdfund for sporty kind of projects. So please do follow the link to the online learning platform. This is an interactive course that will take you through the steps of planning, creating and running a successful crowdfunding page. If you do have any questions throughout, as Beth mentioned, I am here to help you and cannot stress that enough. So any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me directly on chloe@crowdfunder.co.uk.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And like Chloe mentioned, please do head over to the Learn course. It's really, really useful. Teach you everything that you need to know on how to crowdfund. So thank you everyone for joining. And thank you so much to Chloe and to Beth and Amy for joining us today. I hope you found it a useful session. Bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.